belt to effing ass, baby. Belt to ass, baby. What is up, everyone? I got to correct myself. I'm in a different location off the bat. Yeah. Watching. Can everyone hear me first off? Can everyone hear me? I'm trying to use my AirPods. So are we all good on hearing me? Different location at my boy's place. Had to watch. I'm superstitious, so had to come watch here. We are celebrating. We are celebrating correctly. Don't you all worry, because the Baltimore Ravens put belt to ass on the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-14. We might have a Rocco DeSangro popping on here in a few minutes. Don't you guys worry. We have a few fun things planned. Hoping to have Rocco DeSangro pop on. Kevin Ostreicher will obviously pop on in a little bit. We might have Baltimore Ravens long snapper Nick Moore hop on, depending on when he gets home. But, baby, 28-14, belt to ass. The Baltimore Ravens dominated this thing from the second this thing was kicked off. The Ravens' defense in the first half was dominant. The Steelers didn't get past the 50-yard line. It felt like every time they needed a big play, they got one. Darius Washington, are you kidding me? Little body making big boy plays. Whole defense shows up the entire first half. Pure dominance. The offense, 12-play drive. 12 plays, all runs. What do you do? Down the field, score a touchdown. It was belt to ass. It was bully ball. I'm telling you guys, this was one of the most enjoyable football games I have ever watched when you take everything into account. The Steelers were leading the AFC North all year on this weak schedule. Let's call it what it was, a weak-ass schedule. The Steelers were leading all year. Their fans were talking shit, saying they're the team to beat in the AFC North, and then they throw it away. They implode from the inside. Russell Wilson had his moments in the second half, but the Steelers imploded from the inside at the end of this year. And the Baltimore Ravens, we got them, we drew them, and everyone said this was the opportunity to put belt to ass, to bury their season, put a little uncomfortableness in the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Now you got questions flying everywhere, and my God, did the Baltimore Ravens do that. 21-0 in half. This entire first half was just everything, and Kevin's texting me. Kevin's on his way. So Kevin's on his way, but man, what an absolute game. Let's go through the box score really fast. Let's go through the box score. So Lamar Jackson, 16 of 21 for 175 passing yards. Oh, just a quick 2 touchdowns and a QBR of 132. Derrick Henry goes for 26 carries, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, 15 carries, 81 yards, long of 20. Steven Sims gets the 1 carry for 15. Justice Hill, 6 for 12. Mark Andrews, a little push for 5 yards. Ravens total, when you have to take into account, unfortunately, all of the kneel downs at the end, the Ravens fall just below 300 yards at 299 yards on the ground. This is what you were hoping to see from the Ravens, an all-out dominance. Let's go to the receiving, to the pass catchers. Isaiah Likely, 3 receptions for 53 yards. Every single one of those receptions was in a big moment. Isaiah Likely made 2 big boy plays when they were needed. Go up and get it. And not only that, Isaiah Likely has one of the nastiest stiff arms, maybe the most underrated stiff arm of anyone on this team. Isaiah Likely had himself a day, and they were using the tight ends. Mark Andrews, 2 receptions for 27 yards. Then you go Nelson Aguilar, that one reception for 25. Rashad Bateman, 2 for 24 in the touchdown. Tylan Wallace with that very underrated after the Ravens got sacked, sitting second and 20. He gets that 20-yard receptions where Edmonds was just kind of lollygagging. Anthony Miller, 3 receptions for 12 yards. If you want to talk about a guy I did not think we were going to call this many times, Anthony Miller was on that field. I can't wait for the snap counts to come out in the morning because I feel like Anthony Miller was on that field for 30% of the plays. Anthony Miller felt like he was on the field for 30% of the plays. But overall, what an absolute game from the Ravens. 28-14 final. If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe. This is Kevin and Zach Reacts. I'm Zach Bollinger. Kevin Ostreicher is going to join us in a few. Rocco DeSangro going to join us as well. Nick Moore, potentially, depending on timing. Ravens long snapper could join as well in a little bit. Baltimore Ravens win 28-14. Hit that like and subscribe button. Briss Raven just waiting for Rocco to appear. I think we're all waiting. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think we're all waiting. I'm seeing some MB3 stuff. Listen, Lamar Jackson, people are waiting for this man to have a horrible – they were waiting for a playoff stinker. That's all people want. That's all these haters wanted. All the people that just want to see Lamar Jackson fail, all they wanted to see was him go out there and get upset by the Steelers. That's what they want. They wanted to see him go and have a horrible night. What does he do? He has a passer rating of 132. He controls the entire game with his legs, with his arm. I mean, he has over 250 total yards, 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson was in control of this game the entire time. The entire game. It just felt like Lamar Jackson from the first snap, whether it was, okay, he just got sacked at 2nd and 20, find the open guy, make something work. Okay, Tylan Wallace, whether it's 2-minute drill, end of the first half, he's going down the field, getting the ball to likely go up there, spike it. He knows how much time they have. He makes something work, goes, dumps it off to Justice Hill for the touchdown. It felt like at all times throughout this entire game, the one constant was Lamar Jackson was in control of the game. Like I said, through running it, through passing it. Lamar Jackson, this is the most I've seen him run, designed run-wise. And, when we're talking about that, I'm talking about like the option, not just he scrambles on a pass. Lamar was just dominating this game on the ground. The Steelers, there were times where they were just giving him 12 yards. He would pull it, a Steelers player would see him out there. Deshaun Elliott about 2 or 3 times just let him run out of bounds. Lamar Jackson just jogs for 10 yards, and that's it. It felt like this whole game the Steelers were okay with Lamar gaining 5 to 10 yards every time he pulled it, as long as Derrick Henry didn't beat him. Yet Derrick Henry goes for 26 yards, 26 carries, 186 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I agree with this. I'm not going to say it's a career-defining game for most other quarterbacks, but this was just a solid game from Lamar. And it's a game that he didn't jump off the stat sheet. You don't look down and he has 400 passing yards. He doesn't have, 5 touchdowns. It's not a Jackson 5, any of that. But the entire game he controlled. At no point did you feel like Lamar Jackson wasn't in total control of this. And I'm seeing some comments about it. He did all this without Zay Flowers. Did all this without Zay Flowers. Going into this week, especially after last week, the big question was, what was this offense going to look like without Zay Flowers? How are they going to adapt? Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm just going to keep it 100%. Be straight up. It doesn't matter if Zay Flowers was in this game or not. When the Baltimore Ravens can have a drive where they go, how many plays? 12 plays, all rushes, and just 13 plays. 13 plays, all rushes, go down the field and score a touchdown. It didn't matter if Zay Flowers was in this game. Do I think Zay Flowers would have helped? Do I think maybe they would have scored in different ways? Do I think maybe they would have moved the ball differently, called a few extra plays here and there for him? Yeah, I think he would have been involved in this game. It didn't matter that Zay Flowers, if he was playing or he wasn't playing, this was a total domination on the ground. This was a total domination up front. The Baltimore Ravens, we talked about the one group that needed to show up this week. The one group that needed to show up this week was the offensive line, and what they did was put on a show. Pass protection, run game, they were opening holes. They were winning at the point of attack. And it felt like, especially, and it helps the Ravens are putting them in beneficial scenarios where they're going fast paced. They're having these long drives. Suddenly it's 10, 12 plays into a drive, and the defense, hands on the hips. TJ Watt's coming out. Cam Hayward looks like he wants to retire. The Ravens completely demoralized that Steelers team mentally. And it started with the offensive line. They were winning in that offensive, in the trenches, and it went over from there. It just boiled over from there to the rest of the game, and it just felt like, honestly, the Ravens, there were moments here in the second half where you were like, okay, the Steelers are sort of trying to put this thing together. The Steelers had momentum at times, but at the end of the day, the Ravens did what they had to do. I'm seeing Zach Lowther in the chat. Zach, hope you're doing well. Yeah, Zach, we'll change. Don't you worry. We'll make sure that we get it. We get so that it is time sensitive in Taiwan. So don't worry. I'm drinking water, guys. I'm drinking water. No one worry. Jake the man. You make a good point. Roger Rosengarten went viral a little this week because he was talking about, he asked Myles Garrett for his jersey, referred to himself as a nobody, saying, hey, I'm just a nobody, but can I get that jersey? Myles Garrett said, hey, dude, kind of called it out, and oh my goodness. Went over to him and was like, dude, you are not a nobody. Let me say something. After today, Roger Rosengarten, you are not a nobody. You are somebody. Incredible game, shutting down TJ Watt. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the moment we have all been waiting for. I would now like to welcome to the stage my good friend, my colleague, someone who is very close and dear to my heart, Rocco DeSangro. Rocco, how we feeling?
Not great, Zach. It's just want to lay in bed for the rest of the night, not wake up until like 4 p.m. the next day.
Rocco, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I know the chat. I assume you can see the chat. It's going nuts right now. Yeah. Mad props for one, hopping on.
I wouldn't miss this for the world. Yeah.
For hopping on. Two, we talked before, when we were leaving. It felt like the Steelers were playing with – it was a very weird – as a Steelers fan, it was a weird vibe going in because it felt like house money. If you lost, we were supposed to lose. If it was a close game, it felt like, okay, we played hard. What are your thoughts after that game from your perspective as a Steelers fan?
I mean, it sucked. It's like that was Deshaun Elliott put it best. And so Brooke Pryor's tweet, she covers the Steelers as a beat reporter. She does a really good job. She said that he said belt to butt.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he probably said belt to ass. And it's exactly what it felt like. I mean, that first half, nothing going at all. It was just brutal to watch. And still participating in Dry January, Zach. It's, I didn't cave, but my buddy works at the bar down the street in Canton. And I sat there in the corner. They put me in the corner, had the Palomalo jersey rocking. Only Steelers fan in there. And the claps got louder and louder and louder in my direction. And I just had to sit there and take it. And I was just like, this sucks. It is what it is. The Ravens are a force. And they're scary. This is not like – I feel like as a Ravens fan, you'd get a different vibe and feeling than years past about this team. And I know a lot of people had the same feeling last year about what the Ravens did because they went through a damn gauntlet. I mean, in the way they finished the season, they got the rest of their starters against the Steelers week 18, and they didn't win that game. But last year, it was the teams they ran through and how they did it in a dominating fashion. You're like, damn, this team's going to win the Super Bowl because of what they had. And then you add on Derrick Henry. Okay, things didn't go well last year. They got away from what they did best, and that was run the ball down teams' throats. And they did that tonight. And they kicked the Steelers' ass in the ground game. And that's what you bring Derrick Henry in to do. Just make the other team just like break. Their will to play the game of football, it just goes to dust. And that's exactly what happened. It is exactly what happened tonight. Derrick Henry, I am going to be seeing that stiff arm of Minkah Fitzpatrick. Nightmare. Just like Ravens fans experienced the Derrick Henry, Earl Thomas stiff arm years and years and years ago. Like, that is a play that is going to live on in this rivalry forever. Like, you talk about like the big plays and the big moments. I mean, no further than that. And then Isaiah Likely just sticking his hand.
That's what Isaiah Likely had a very underrated stiff arm today. Very, very underrated. We see our fan of the program, Ryan Ripken, tuning in with his thoughts. No, I like, you talked about the feel of it from our perspective as Ravens fans, and it almost feels like this year is different in the fact of the adversity this team has faced. Last year there was a lot of sunshine and rainbows. They had a few hiccups here and there, but overall, it was dancing on the sidelines. It kind of felt like 2019 again. It felt like, Lamar was sitting fourth quarters. Guys were spending, the fourth on the sideline dancing. We were just whooping teams' asses. Okay, this good team comes in, we whoop their ass, whatever. This year it felt like while they're still that talented team, and as you said, and then you add Derrick Henry, it didn't click right away. They started 0-2. They got beat by the Browns because of just not because the Browns beat them or outplayed them, because they shot themselves in the foot time after time. They lost by the games of inches like the Chiefs. And so I feel like in that aspect, this team is different because they faced adversity. So I think that's the biggest separated from last year to this year is this team has had to get punched in the face multiple times. They've had to come back. They haven't just been this front runner type team where they just get out to these big leads and then they're partying. It's, oh shit, we're down even just a casual Monday night against the Bucs. Oh shit, we're down 10-0.
The scariest team, Zach, is a team that's on a mission. And you could say, well, Rocco, you're an idiot. Every team's on a mission. The mission's to win a Super Bowl. It's different for the Ravens. It's different for Lamar Jackson. It's different for this staff right now. Because I'm telling you what, the guys in that locker room, they rally around 8. They do. And they hear the outside noise and they hear all the shit that gets talked about this guy, about playoff record, about he doesn't step up in the big games when they matter most, about how Josh Allen should be the MVP. And I think, quite frankly, like, his teammates are tired of it. And for Lamar Jackson, again, we talk about it all the time on the show, man. That MVP trophy to him, another one, it's meaningless. He is worried about one trophy, and it's the Lombardi. That's what he has his sights set on. And the speeches after they won the AFC North, how locked in those guys were, it's scary. That is a scary team to have to face because, mistakes happen. And I want to put things into perspective, not just for football players, not just for athletes. Mistakes happen in everyday life, and it's about how you respond to them. And for the Ravens, it's like, all right, the mistake was made last year. 6 rushing attempts against the eventual Super Bowl champs, that ain't going to cut it. That ain't going to win anything. And you look at that and you're like, okay. And you talked about it, Zach. You're like, when Derrick Henry, when you look up at his total rushes, you're like, oh, he's got enough. No, he doesn't. It's like he needs more. And he needs more. And he needs more. I think the year the Titans went and played the Chiefs, I think it was the AFC Championship.
2019.
Yes. So after they beat the Ravens and the Patriots, they went on that run. Derrick Henry, I look back at his carries. I think there was a game he had 32 carries, and that was against the Patriots. And then he had 30 carries, and then I think he had 20 carries. I think the Ravens need to see much of a run like that. Maybe not like in the 30 range, but like the way the guy ran the ball tonight, why the hell not? The way Lamar's moving the ball on the ground and you know, what was he, 16 for 21 with 2 touchdowns? He was efficient. He didn't have to throw for 300 yards. He didn't have to throw for, 200 yards. He was efficient. It got the job done, and he was accurate. And, like, that is going to win you games when the Ravens play mistake-free football, when they don't beat themselves, because that's their biggest opponent at the end of the day. So, I mean, don't want to jump the gun and say, oh, yeah, I don't want to say the S word for the Ravens, but it's a team that plays like this has a chance to do big things. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. And the rest of the AFC should be terrified right now.
Well, and then that's the thing, is that's the goal. That's the standard. That's where the bar is this team can't be a divisional round and out. This team couldn't afford to be a wild card and out. And Rocco, we talked before the show even today, and we said, hey, this is kind of the one you definitely can't lose. Like, if you lose to Josh Allen and the Bills, that's one thing. That's one thing. If you lose to the Chiefs, that's one thing. If you lose in the Super Bowl, that's one thing. What you couldn't do after everything after last year was have a backpedaling Steelers team that wasn't playing their best football. It kind of felt like they were, in a lot of aspects, imploding from the inside. You could not let that team, your arch rival who has beaten you even after your last win 8 of the last 10 times, you couldn't let them come in your house and beat you. If that happens, then you're looking at yourself. There has to be moves in the coaching staff. There has to be moves. Things have to change if that happens. So you're now over that, and you're on to assuming Buffalo or Houston. It most likely Buffalo.
So, exactly, Zach. So it's just crazy to look at what they have and who they got and what they added and where they are right now. Because, again, this fan base isn't going to be satisfied until that there's a third Lombardi trophy in the trophy case and there's another parade in Baltimore for this franchise. And I completely get it because of what you have and what you're capable of without, mind you, we were talking about this before the game, but the Ravens won this game so handily. We weren't really talking about it. Like, people weren't really talking about it during the game. That Zay Flowers didn't even play. Like, your number one receiver wasn't even on the field, and belt to ass against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you know what? In the second half early, I was like, there was some hope on my end.
There was.
They come. So, but the Ravens of old would have let the Steelers back in that game 1,000%. The Ravens of new, it didn't happen. It seemed like it was getting close at times, and I was like, all right, they have a chance. And then it was just like, nope, not a chance anymore. It didn't happen. But with that being said, Zach, in the second half, I looked up, all right, Derrick Henry had 13 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown in the first half, correct?
Yeah.
When I looked up and only saw 17 carries, like late in the third quarter, I think it was, and he did have that touchdown, mind you, I was like, again, what you were saying, it's still not enough. And it seemed like they got away a little bit, and they were like,
they tried to get away from it. They tried to,
but he wouldn't let them. He would not let them. But I did like Justice Hill, how they worked him in. Like he got like a decent workload in this game as well. But Derrick Henry's got to be the guy 1,000%, and like you cannot ever get away from feeding that man the ball.
I agree, and I guess we got to bring on the other part of Kevin Zach Reacts. If you're new to the program, hit that like and subscribe button. Join us as well. Kevin Ostrecker, host of Locked On Ravens. Kevin, how are we feeling, baby?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. How are you feeling, Rocco?
As good as I can be, Kevin.
I feel like you're not very let down because this is what you expected.
Well, that's what I said. It was like, you know what? You can cheer for your team. You can hope they win. But, like, you got to be real here. The Steelers limped into the playoffs. I didn't expect that this was going to be a win at all. And if it was a miracle on my end. And you know what? People can get pissed off about that and say, oh, like, you're not a real fan. It's like, no, I try to be as real as possible. And you guys have gone into the playoffs as well and thinking, okay, like, this isn't good. Like, we're not going to win this game. And maybe you do, and maybe you don't. But, like, I had zero expectations here. And I was just like, you know what? happy to be included in the party. It sucks. That's the mentality this season. It's the mentality of the last however many years, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Rocco, Kevin, I wanted to wait for you to get on to actually, do we have a update on a we have. I'm not sure Nick Moore's going to be able to join tonight, but he's having himself a time. But guys,
let him enjoy his night.
Yeah, I
Damn,
I had to let you guys know we are. There's a certain thing tonight. Tonight, we got that.
Drink it.
We got the Night Lights by Lamar Jackson.
How is it?
It's actually fantastic.
What is it?
My friend. Look, it smells good. It does. It really does. Actually, it's not, as he says, masculine and sexy.
Is that how you feel right now? Is that how you feel?
Extremely. I like though that it's an either or. I like that it's an either or. So, Night Lights by Lamar Jackson.
Hey, gotta throw it on after the win, man. I like that. I like that.
I said, you see what I said to Nick?
No, what did you just say, Nick?
I just said I'm sitting here waiting to face the music, buddy. So you better be on here.
Oh, he said he's gonna.
He said he'll be there soon. So
yeah, no. You read this wrong, Zach. He said he's coming. Yeah, he said he's coming on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought he just was okay. I read just leaving the stadium. All right.
Well, you're seeing double, so it's understandable.
Rocco, I'm actually not that bad off right now.
I feel like you're feeling pretty nicey.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm at my friend's house. That's where I was not leaving.
I was gonna say that's a slick set.
Yeah. Yeah,
dude,
thanks.
Joe is so unfiltered and just so
Joe, I'm not at my girlfriend's.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, so it looks like Nick Moore's gonna be hopping on when he can.
Get me off.
Dude, I forgot to tweet out Locked On Live episode. Like I usually tweet it out right as I go live, but I was so because these games they end like I give it 15-minute intervals to go live right after the game, and these games end at like 10:59, and I'm just like, well, I can't waste time. I need to just put it at 11 and go do my stuff. I went live at like 11:10. I forgot to tweet out my episode, and I'm just like, well, there goes like almost 40,000 people I could push the episode out to. So it wasn't as bad as the one time I forgot to monetize, and it was like my biggest live stream ever, and I was so mad. I was very mad.
Unbelievable.
I'm just trying to fill time before Nick comes on.
Do you guys want to hear like how Nick feeds into the chat and everyone as well?
Big oh yeah, go.
I was saying I think it was Sunday of this week, or of last week, he just immediately says #hate Rocco week is officially active. So it's I don't know. There's a lot of shit talking.
Yeah, no, like that. Like I want people to understand. In our group chat, Nick referred to this week as #hate Rocco week.
Yeah.
So like your feelings, Nick Moore feels as well.
Yeah.
Nick Moore feels well. Kevin, just overall thoughts on the game. You just kind of joined. Me and Rocco have been talking about it for a bit. What were your overall takeaways? And kind of after this, we'll go into maybe our maybe a 1-up, 1-down.
Oh wow, that's a blast from the past. Yeah, overall thoughts on the game. I mean, this is exactly what we talked about, where the Ravens getting out to that huge lead. Pittsburgh made a bit of a push in the third quarter, but they, like we said, they just didn't have enough. And the offensive firepower that the Ravens were able to display, the Ravens essentially said, we're going to bully you until you make us stop. And they just never did. And in my opinion, it's even more impressive because the Steelers have a really good defensive line. This was just like, I don't want this performance to overshadow that, like, Pittsburgh has a really good defense. And were they playing up to their standard the last month of the season? Absolutely not. Pittsburgh was, there was drama on and off the field. They were playing terrible football. But in the playoffs, it's a whole different animal, and there's always that level of uncertainty. I mean, we were all watching the Chargers Texans game together, early in that first half. Where it's like, oh, Texans are done, Texans are frauds, and then they turn it around, they beat the brakes off the Chargers, and no one gave Houston a shot. So like, it's much more complicated and in depth than just, oh, the Ravens have a better roster, or, oh, the Steelers are playing bad football. You have to show up, or else the other team's going to run you out of the stadium. And the Ravens did show up. It was the Steelers who looked like they quit.
Yeah,
it literally looked like you could see them quit. They didn't want to tackle Derrick Henry. They didn't. It felt like once the Ravens went up, they were just like, yeah, they got some stops late in the second half. But I just don't know what you do now if you're Pittsburgh, because, again, Tomlin's a really good coach, but sometimes things just run their course. And George Pickens is going crazy. Steelers fans are crashing out, fighting each other in the lot after the game. Like, I don't know if
that was crazy.
I don't know.
Rocco, I thought that was you. Rocco, I thought that was you.
That was you. I don't know if you were in that little scrum there and then you stuck out.
I'm not a big fighter.
Genuinely, Rocco, after you watch this game, because we talked about it a little bit before the show on the pregame show, but just, after the game officially is, happened, what are your thoughts on the Tomlin situation? On, are you, hey, he's still the guy, like, he's this top coach, or are you in the, hey, even though you're not saying he's a bad coach, the message is still you have to have something fresh?
I still believe in Mike Tomlin, and it's, might be crazy for me to say or people to hear that, but I do. And I think that, again, we talked about, like, the guy hasn't had a franchise quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger left. People in Pittsburgh thought that Kenny Pickett was not going to be the second coming, but they thought they got something special and like a homegrown talent. Guy went to Pitt, comes into the league, and then he absolutely stinks it up in Pittsburgh, and now he's the backup in Philly. It's like things like that are going to happen. It's unfortunate. I'd like not to see a trend of Steelers quarterbacks stink from here on out. And I want to believe that eventually we will get like a solid quarterback in there. And I don't know if it's going to be, if Justin Fields is going to be that guy. He's 25. But there's only so much losing you can take until an organization is going to, and everyone's going to bring up, okay, losing, like Tomlin has a winning season ever. But if that's the standard in Pittsburgh, like that, oh yeah, above 500, another season above 500, then what are we doing? This is a franchise that has won 6 Super Bowls, one of the more respected franchises in NFL history. And it's like the above 500 shouldn't be like what we strive for year in and year out. It should be.
Yeah. And also, I'm not sure if you've seen there's that graphic of the record after clinching above 500, and it's like 0-2, 1-3. So it's like, it genuinely feels like you guys get to 500 and then like that's the ceiling. Like whether you get to it in 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 13, it feels like you get to 500 and then starts this like mediocrity. Like you're this great team who you'll have stretches of greatness, but then it feels like out of nowhere there is this ceiling.
And that's what you're getting at, Zach. And like that's how it kind of feels with that. But I again, like Tony Gonzalez, it wasn't surprising to hear, but hearing him talk about the Tomlin situation on the Amazon Prime broadcast, like on the desk after the game, he kind of compared what's going to potentially happen or what he thinks could potentially happen to like an Andy Reid situation. And I don't know if we have that clip, but how the Eagles parted way with Andy Reid. It was like a mutual split. He goes to Kansas City. He sees all this success. He's won multiple Super Bowls. Like Mike Tomlin could be that guy for an organization, and I truly believe he can. But right now, it's just like the talent is not there on the offensive side of the ball in Pittsburgh. And like, as much as people think AB is insane, and he is, and it's like, he's just so unhinged on social media. He's like, said one of the smartest things I've ever heard him say tonight. And it was like, you need offense to win in this league. Look at Lamar Jackson, like prime example. That's exactly what the Steelers need right now. They need a good offense. They need a quarterback. They need not just like pieces here and there. Like, oh yeah, George Pickens is going to come out and perform whenever he feels like it, or Najee Harris is going to have a big game like once in a blue moon. You got to all come together. Like what the Ravens are doing right now is like, it's special. And, simply put, not trying to be Captain Obvious here, that the Steelers just don't have that offensively.
Well, I have good news for you, Rocco. Now you can fully focus on the 76ers. Now you don't have to worry about the Steelers anymore.
Thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate that.
So, look, I'm trying to give you positives. All right.
I think you're a nice guy, but really, you're a piece of shit. You're just,
that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
Like the evil mustache. Now you got the facial hair.
Well, see, all right. Between you and me, and like a bunch of other people now, I really want to shave this off. I wanted to shave it off for a month.
Yeah.
But
are you just gonna let it ride until the?
I have to, because I get it in the Locked On Ravens chat. I get it here. If I shave it and they lose the next week, I will never live it down.
I think that you should just keep the mustache, keep like the evil mustache, and go from there. Shave all this, keep the stash. You might not. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah. Not to expose you, Rocco, because you already exposed yourself.
Yeah,
but yes,
exactly.
Yes, Rocco has officially outed himself. Is that we had to keep it a secret for a while.
Yeah.
But
shout out Brandon. Trust the process.
Trust the process.
One of my buddies. Yeah. He talks a lot of shit, but says some smart things here. So,
well, see, it seems like you just have a lot of shit talking friends.
My friends, listen. You think this has built me? My friend group has built me for what this chat throws at me every single day of my life. That's why I'm so unfazed. Mike, I discussed you. I've disgusted my parents since the day I was born. You know what? It is what it is. So it's like my friend group, same thing. It's like I disgust everyone, and I live to do that. So, join the club, buddy.
All right. Now, I want to ask you guys this. The divisional round is coming up. You can now look ahead to that. The Ravens will either play the Bills or the Texans. If the Bills win, they'll play the Bills. If the Bills lose, the Ravens will play the Texans. Do you feel better about a Bills matchup than you did the Steelers matchup?
Zach, you want to take? Zach, you want
to take? Wait. Okay. What do you mean? Do I feel better?
Like, do you feel like the Ravens match up better with the Bills than they did against the Steelers?
No, because I don't think the Steelers. Like, no offense, I don't think the Steelers were good.
No, I mean you're not
like that. Like, and I mean that like the most like respectful way. I think the Steelers overachieved this year, and then like the magic ran out. I don't think the Steelers were good. I think there are people talking about. I think the Steelers were arguably a bottom 1 to 2 team in this playoff bracket, period. NFC, AFC. I think the Ravens match up well against the Bills because I think the Ravens can run the damn ball and the Bills aren't going to stop it. Yeah, I think the Ravens have a damn good chance at beating the Buffalo Bills. Do I think they match up better than them with the Steelers? I can't say that because I don't think the Steelers were good. I genuinely don't. I think that first half was exactly what they were supposed to do. They went out there and just they dominated on the ground, and that's exactly what you're hoping they would do. They just go out and prove that they were the bigger, better team.
This is with this matchup, whoever the Ravens face. I know it's all about like it's regardless of who the opponent is, you just want to win. I don't think Ravens fans give a shit about who they play, but from just a football fan standpoint and someone who respects the hell out of Lamar Jackson and someone who feels like Lamar Jackson still doesn't get the credit he deserves, which is insane to say, even though he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a 2-time MVP. I would love nothing more right now for you guys than to see Lamar Jackson and the Ravens beat Josh Allen, then beat Patrick Mahomes. I know we're talking one game at a time, but like go through the gauntlet to win a Super Bowl, because regardless of if the Ravens win a Super Bowl or not, that's great. And everyone's going to be happy as hell here if they do. There are going to be people out there that say they didn't beat this team. They didn't beat that team. So you know what? Throw all the freaking teams at them. Throw the Bills, throw Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and then throw whoever's coming at them from the NFC. Because at that point in time, it's like, what can you say about Lamar Jackson now? If he wins a third MVP, if they go on to win the Super Bowl, and if they're hoisting that Lombardi trophy high in New Orleans in February, what are you going to say about this guy now? And it's like, people will
we already know what they're going to say. They're going to say that he couldn't do it without Henry.
But
same shit they're going to say about tonight.
I just want that to be the path because of that. And just
I agree.
The Bills fans, they're like, Josh Allen's the MVP. Listen, you're going to ride for your guy no matter what. I get it.
Yeah.
But you can't take away what Lamar Jackson's done this season earlier.
Well,
on this side, you can't take away what Josh Allen's done. He's been great this year. He has. But like, if you're looking at it from the best player in football, MVP standpoint, Lamar Jackson, what he's done has like the 4,000 passing, 800 rushing. Mm-hmm. It's like, are you kidding me? Come on.
I was just gonna say, Zach, I agree with you that, and I said this over on Locked On Ravens, that I don't want to hear it, but we're gonna hear it. It's gonna be Lamar threw for 175 passing yards. That's a terrible stat line. Derrick Henry carried Lamar because Derrick Henry had 186 yards. Lamar didn't do anything. The reason Lamar was able to win was because Derrick Henry was taking all the attention away. When if you watched the game, you saw 4 Pittsburgh defenders go with Lamar on that Derrick Henry touchdown where he burst right up the middle. This was a perfect, I don't even know, like water and fire combination, the perfect like yin yang combination here, where early in the game, Pittsburgh's mission was to not let Derrick Henry get going. They were sending everything they had at him, and Lamar read that perfectly, took it to the outside, and run after run after run, he was able to pick up chunk yards. Then in the second half, the Steelers, they had no choice. They had to say, we can't let Lamar keep gashing us like this. So they sent more bodies at Lamar, and Lamar read that, and Derrick Henry was able to feast the entire game. But the reason this all works, and again, you don't take away from either guy. Like Derrick Henry has benefited from Lamar, and Lamar has benefited from Derrick Henry. It's a two-way street. But if Lamar doesn't have the gravity that he has, none of this works as well as it does. And if Derrick Henry isn't Derrick Henry, none of this works as well as it does. It's a two-way street. But what we're going to hear on the national media airwaves is that Lamar only threw for 175. And because Derrick Henry had 186, he's the guy that carried Lamar. And I'm just like, it's so stupid. We're going to hear it. And I'm going to call it out when I hear it.
You should.
But I need to prepare myself because that's what we're going to get. And Ramey, man, legend checking in. Hey, Ramey linked up with Cole Jackson. I think.
Yeah, Cole Jackson was in town.
First Ravens win.
No, he said he had another one. He had one other, but it had not been a big game.
Second Ravens win. Okay.
This.
Kev, but like I love what you said. Oh, go ahead. What'd you say?
No, Rocco, you go.
What you said about every good team, like there's not many teams that go on to win a Super Bowl where a star player doesn't have a supporting cast or 2 stars on the team, like multiple stars is what I'm saying. Like you look back at the teams that have done it and they have multiple stars on the team. So I hate the narrative. Like, is football not a team sport? I don't think like it's individual. Like Lamar Jackson doesn't go out and play defense. Lamar Jackson isn't blocking for himself. Mm-hmm. Now he is catching passes sometimes, like last year in the playoffs when that was kind of cool. But I'm saying, to my point, Josh Allen has James Cook, and I know James Cook isn't Derrick Henry, but James Cook's been pretty damn good this year. So are we going to take away from Josh Allen because James Cook has been fantastic as well?
The kid's been incredible.
Just like we shouldn't take away from Lamar Jackson for having Derrick Henry. They complement each other so well. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Lamar Jackson won 2 MVPs before Derrick Henry came.
Yeah. And Rocco, not to cut you off, but real fast, what did end up being the Derrick Henry long touchdown run? 44 yards, I think it was, something around there.
I thought it was 50.
Thanks, Zach.
55, I think. If you watch that play.
It was 44. I'm stupid. You're right.
It was 44?
Yeah. Look at you go.
Kid questions my ball knowledge on the show. Like,
you questioned it yourself too, by the way.
Yeah, no, I did. Derrick Henry, 44 yards. That was a picture perfect read option. Half that defense was standing still, like who's getting the ball. And because Minka because of the play that the Steelers were running, Minka was up top. They had no one on the third level. So when everyone's flat-footed thinking, hey, who's getting the ball? This guy. Derrick Henry gets the ball. That half second he's by you, now you're not catching him. Now they're sitting there celebrating in the end zone.
You know what?
That's the Lamar Jackson effect. That's the effect that Lamar has. Everyone wants to talk about the effect that Derrick Henry has on Lamar Jackson. That's the effect Lamar Jackson has on Derrick Henry.
What pissed me off a little bit tonight from the Steelers is there were multiple times where they did like their melts going to, looking at the option, and TJ Watt went directly towards Justice Hill. He went right to Justice Hill when Justice Hill was lined up with Lamar rather than going to Lamar. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? I was like, all respect to Justice Hill, but who's going to do more damage on the ground if they get out in the open? And that's absolutely going to be Lamar. So I don't know what the game plan was going into it like that, maybe just to contain the run game. But like when you have a guy that can kill you with his legs as well, you got the MVP back there. Like you got to contain him too. And feel like that. I mean, again, Lamar is so challenging to game plan for, whether the Steelers are familiar with him or not, whether they've had past success against him or not. It's like, this is a playoffs. It's a different atmosphere and a different animal that you're dealing with. And Lamar was, I mean, simply fantastic. And Kev, like you said, the numbers, were they eye-popping from the passing standpoint? No, but he was super efficient, and he made MVP plays in this game, and he did what it took to get his team to win. Unselfish football, and Lamar Jackson will take that any day over throwing for 300 yards, winning a close game, or maybe even losing.
Yeah, and like, why would that be the game script? Like, it's like, why would the Ravens need? And this is when Nick Wright argued it and Chris Broussard pushed back. Chris argued a bunch of these points. It's like Chris Broussard, because Nick Wright was all like, oh, in the Texans game, he only threw for like 100 whatever passing yards. And Broussard was like, what, you want him to stay in the game and like throw the whole time? Like, it's about game script. The Ravens aren't playing to get Lamar Jackson 500 total yards every game. The Ravens are playing to win games. And how did you win this game tonight? You challenged Pittsburgh to stop you on the ground, and they couldn't do it. So what do? You run the ball because Pittsburgh couldn't stop it. And then that opened up everything else. And it was a picture-perfect game plan from Todd Monken. And I thought the offensive line, I mean, shout out to Roger Rosengarten, who TJ Watt did not have a single stat. It seems like when the Ravens play some of these top pass rushers or top defensive linemen, they just don't register stats. Aaron Donald had like one tackle in the last game he played against the Ravens. I think there was a Myles Garrett game where he didn't register anything. Now, TJ Watt. And look, the Steelers, they were banged up in senses. The Ravens are banged up. Everybody's banged up at this point. And I don't know, just I was very happy with how they showed up because, look, sometimes they haven't showed up. And it takes a while to get them going. And then by the time they get going, it's too late. Or maybe they start fast and then they fizzle out and then it becomes a really weird game.
And you start to think that towards the middle of this game, Rocky, you talked about here, I'll hide this real fast, but Rocky, you talked about there was that moment, of a drive or two where you felt like, hey, do the Steelers have an opportunity? And hell, I was sending in group chats. I was straight up. I was like, hey, I have PTSD right now. Like, I don't think they're going to blow this, but in the back of my head, I'm going, the Steelers have us right where they want us. Like, Russell Wilson is suddenly, that deep ball's flying. He's hitting guys on the sideline. He's looking good. George Pickens is getting open. He's hitting Calvin Austin over the middle, over the top. And it felt like, oh, there's this momentum. And Kevin, to your point, it felt like sort of like in the back of my head, I'm saying, is this the old Ravens? Is this the team that is going to blow this lead?
The two, I love the replies under Jeff Zrebeck's tweets when he puts something out, because if it's a tweet, like Ravens go 3 and out and don't even take a minute off the clock, 58 replies. And those 58 replies, I'm telling you what, they were damn entertaining to read at that point in time. Then he follows up that tweet with, Ravens defense suddenly can't get off the field. And that's when you start to see the domino effect of, damn, this game could be shifting in the Steelers' direction. And it never did. They didn't, I mean, might have felt like it got close, but in reality, it really didn't. And the Ravens kept them at bay.
It felt like it was getting close, but it never was. As a fan, with that PTSD type aspect of, you felt like they keep blowing leads. They keep finding ways to lose these games recently. I found myself sitting there like feeling like, it was literally a 2-touchdown game, 2-possession game. Ravens were driving down the field and it would get to like 3rd and, 7 or whatever. And I'm like, don't do this. I'm like, please don't do this. You just felt like that, in the back of your head of, hey, I don't want to be on this, to be on another graphic. Like we can't add to the graphic right here. So it was great to see the team, kind of slip up a little bit in the middle, that defense, and the Steelers went on and got 2 big plays. They went on to capitalize for touchdowns, and then the Ravens were like, okay, that's enough. They made the adjustments. They went back out there and started shutting them down again. And that's what you needed. You can't have it start spiraling again, the snowball effect. That's when it gets out of hand.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yep, I'm with you. And it's a matter for the Ravens, at least, of when they're playing like this, when they do this, no team can beat them. If they play like this for the remainder of the playoffs, they're going to win the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, it's not that simple because, you have a lot of other teams who are going to want the same thing. And I think that the Steelers' offense is the worst offense they're going to see in the postseason. Buffalo, Kansas City, I'm assuming that will be the path. If it's a different offense, then, we can talk about that. But even so, I don't know if you felt this way, Rocco. The Steelers just looked old. Especially defensively, they just looked old. Like Cam Hayward going down, and he made a couple plays in the game, but he was in and out, and TJ Watt got hurt again, and he was in and out a little bit, and obviously Russ. And I feel like Russ is stuck in 2018, 2017. I feel like he still thinks he's 25 because he tries to make these incredible Lamar-esque plays with his legs, and he gets pushed out of bounds for 2 yards. With their Darius play, couple, last time they played, where he's like, oh, I'm going to just juke him out and truck him and go into the end zone. And, he gets his shit rocked. So you're like, I don't know what the plan is for them, because it's hard to move on from a coach that has the track record of Tomlin. But the issue is that when you talk about track record, you get lost in what happened a decade ago. The track record recently is terrible. Regular season is great. But the argument that we've been talking about with John Harbaugh, and I know that the fan base is very split on John Harbaugh, but the people who want him fired say, well, regular season success is great, but when the postseason has popped up, it hasn't been there. But in Harbaugh's case, at least they made the AFC Championship last year.
How about the Stones on today, Kevin, to go for it on 4th down multiple times and say
I honestly, that's a great point, because I think this game was over the second the Steelers decided to punt on that 4th and inches when Freiermuth couldn't get across. That was a scared punt.
I understand that you're on your own. What were they, 25?
It was 30-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, 20. It was they're on 28 or something. I understand that. I genuinely do. But we are talking mere inches if you can't quarterback sneak that.
I want to say,
because if you I just felt punting it was also giving it if the Ravens at that point were going to score no matter what.
Yeah.
So what changed punting it versus giving it to them at the 30?
They seemed like they were playing scared at times as well. It's just you're not going to win games that way. You have to play perfect football to beat the Ravens right now, and it wasn't even close to perfect football on the Steelers' end. Guy we've talked about a lot on the defensive side of the ball, kind of the unsung hero. If there was an unsung defensive, not the best player on defense, but an unsung hero on the defensive side of the ball, I think we can all agree that would be Darius Washington. Or if not, he'd get a crap ton of votes. I know there's guys that are deserving, but this dude, for his size and the fact that it seemed like he was a guy that was counted out and slept on coming out of the draft, and I know that's cliche to hear, but he was. And even when he joined the Ravens, it was like, all right, what's our Darius Washington going to bring to the table? And it seemed like he was buried at first. And then Lamar talked about it. He came in as a nickel. And then they moved him to safety. So he's been fantastic, and he stepped up in a big way for a guy that the Ravens are still paying 5 years, $70 million to be inactive, to not play right now. Our Darius Washington, week after week, is making plays, and he's not the biggest guy on the field, but he's got a big heart. And you see the play he made against a 6'5", 258-pound Pat Freiermuth, a tight end, where he stuffs him inches away, and that was the play that forced the Steelers to punt. That's a guy I want on my team. That's a guy that, you know, a team can rally behind and be like, all right, if this guy's stepping up and making big plays, we all got to make plays, and we all got to step up as well. So one of the hearts of the defense this year are Darius Washington for sure, especially like the tail end of the season. He's been nothing short of fantastic.
Yeah, and there were rumors that not everybody in the organization believed in him early on, where there were multiple reports and rumors that Don Martindale thought he was too small. And during final cuts, I think his rookie season didn't want him on the team. Those are reports that came out. Again, how true are those? We don't know, but it seemed like they were pretty decently substantial. The Ravens kept him on. And I've never been a guy, and maybe that's just because I'm short myself, but like I've never been a guy to discount height, right? I'm not someone that looks at a guy, sees they're 5'8", and are like, this guy can't play sports. This guy can't play football, whatever it is. You know, some of the greatest players ever to play football were short. Now a lot were tall, but still, you still have your short kings in there. And for example, like Earl Thomas was a horrible situation off the field for the Ravens and was a disaster there. But on the field, he was really, really good for them. Linderbaum got questions about his size in the draft. It was all he's too small to play center.
Arm length.
Yep.
His arms are too small.
It's like if
his arms are too small.
If the guy can play, the guy can play, right? And Ardarius, I think people might forget. I'm sure some remember, but he was projected to be a third-round pick based off his talent.
Yes.
But he fell because of his size. And the Ravens, who was a high priority unrestricted or undrafted free agent, and the rewards have paid off. And that's just a guy that, like,
someone broke that news super early.
Yeah. Then
don't you remember that, Rocco?
Yeah, and then was couldn't sleep for 4 days.
Yeah, someone broke the Ardarius Washington signing with Baltimore super early, and like people thought it was fake because it wasn't confirmed for like 4 more days.
Yeah, I don't think Rocco knows. I've broken 2 pieces of news in my entire life, and I'm never doing it again because it's so stressed. Both times
he broke the news that Ardarius.
I've never been wrong. I'm 2 for 2. But
well, then why would you stop now?
Because it's stressful. Because I get told something and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna. So my first ever time doing it, it was my first time doing it. So I'm just like, okay, I'm new to this. How do I do it? And it was when Lamar got COVID, and I had heard about it, and I tweeted it out, but they didn't confirm it for a couple days because I think I forget what the story was, but like it didn't come out for a couple days. And let me tell my story. And everybody was like, "Oh, this kid is lying. Like, this is so disrespectful." And then it came out that he had it, and okay, I'm like, okay. And the second one was Ardarius signed with the Ravens as an undrafted guy, but Ardarius was so mad he didn't get drafted, he didn't tweet for like I think almost 6 months. And the Ravens don't announce their free agency list until like 5 days after, and so there was no confirmation of it anywhere. And I'm like, okay, I heard it. And I put it out. And so people are like, you better be right. Your legacy's on the line. Like all those typical tweets. and then it happened. Yeah, legacy's on the line. And so I'm 2 for 2. And you know, someone Rocco, you have my blessing to carry that torch for me if you want.
I think I've only done one, and it was in Huntsville, Alabama. I'm 1 for 1 though. I got scared. It's terrifying, Kevin, because you don't want to be wrong on something like that. And if you are, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know people who have been wrong, and
it's the last time they'll do it.
Well, did yours get national wave? Like, what was the news?
So the first one could have. Someone came to me, a source came to me in Huntsville. It was like, doesn't sound like a big deal to people because it's like, but it was there. It was this coach that had been at at one of our basketball schools, a college we covered down there forever. And it was Alabama Huntsville. They were D2. And like he took a D1 program, like a D1 job. So that was the big news because, national reporters reported on it. And I got a tip from somebody and they said, hey, this guy's leaving and going up there. I'm like, bullshit. I was like, there's no way. And I was like, I'm not gonna do anything. So I didn't do it. An hour later, it breaks. I was like, shoot, I should have done it. And it was like national thing. The next time he comes to me and he's like, hey, this is who they're gonna hire. And it was a guy from a D1 program, and I put that out. So it was like one for one. You do have to be careful, Kevin, because you never know. If you get the wrong batch of information, people are going to be coming for your head.
I know. Well, I had heard from someone that Sam Cooke was retiring, like even a couple weeks before they took Stout, and I didn't this was after the Ardarius thing, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it. If it happens, sure. It's not worth the stress it gives me to wait on news like that.
Yeah. It's like just like a source told me that Nick Moore's going to join the show tonight, and he hasn't. So he doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm 1 for 2. It's going to really suck.
I'm texting him.
Yeah.
Oh, you just have his number like that? Yeah.
Well, no, I'm putting in the chat.
Oh, okay. I was about to say that's a flex.
I do.
Wow. Yeah, because you had to text them to get him on Fox or whatever.
Well, yeah, that, and we set him up with we did the cleats too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was, what a guy, though. By the way, if anyone does want to bid on some greatest long snapper in football's game worn My Cause, My Cleats, Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation cleats, they are currently on the NFL auction website for one Nick Moore. Let's see what they're at right now. The current bid is $260. You have 32 days left to bid.
How many bids?
Just two right now.
Yeah, still.
So
good.
I'm just gonna sneak the link in there. And if you want to check it out, feel free. I don't even think Nick has bid on his own cleats yet, which is sad. I'm gonna have a word.
Hell no.
The reason is it's a collector's item.
Anyway.
All right. What should we talk about next?
Rocco.
What?
So we've talked about obviously Tomlin and everything, and kind of where the Steelers go from there. Actually, hold up, Lawrence, you're correct. I've had this clip ready for
Oh, you haven't played it yet? It was just sitting.
No, we went on a very different thing after I pulled up my point clip. So this is Derrick Henry touchdown run. Please watch the linebackers here waiting for Lamar Jackson.
Watch 39, 25, 50.
This entire look at this. Do you see 39, 25, 56, 97?
So they literally seal the playoff. Who is that? It's
this is a touchdown run, right? In the second.
This is Patrick.
That's Linderbaum, and is that? McCary, 65.
Yeah.
Is this a Tud?
Yep.
The Tud in the second half.
Yeah. So
yep, and then
McCary and Stanley seal off Hayward. Linderbaum seals off Queen.
PQ kind of.
It's literally just if Porter can't hit him. And if Queen can't hit him, then it's grass.
Queen kind of gave it was once Henry got by him a little bit, he slowed up. He was done. I don't want to say gave up, but it's not a battle you're going to win regardless.
Well, and here's the thing, especially after, and we talk about this sort of jokingly, but after the stiff arm that Derrick Henry put on Minka, after how tough of a runner he had been all day, these guys don't want to go up and have to hit him. You just don't. We joke and say business decisions and stuff like that, but it is. These guys, after you get hit so many times, the Ravens, 13 play drive, all runs, they were just playing smash mouth football, and it wears on a defense.
Yeah. It felt like the Steelers also, just every – couple of plays just felt like the guy was getting stiff-armed or thrown to the ground or crunched. It just wasn't these matchups are supposed to be two-way physical, and it just felt like it was a one-way physical game the entire time.
Remind me again, who tried to sign Derrick Henry in the offseason?
No one.
Interesting.
I guess
Another team in Dallas that had a shot to.
they did until they screwed up their extensions.
Yeah, interesting. Is there any teams that didn't want to go after Lamar Jackson when he was potentially going to be?
Yeah, it's a much longer list.
Yeah, they can definitely hear you too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's that? I couldn't hear anything. Who was that? My buddy, Zach. You're still
no,
like
so
you're not doing a good job.
So okay, so you want no. So you know what's crazy? You know what just happened? I'll explain what just happened. So me and my friend group, we have a game of tag. It just always goes. It's just a lifelong game of tag. And what you all just witnessed is I was just tagged it. I was just tagged it.
Can you not tag him back?
No, there are no tag backs. He just left. His Uber just got here. So he just left. And he just tagged me. And he said, "Are you on stream?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Oh, let them know. Tag, you're it." And then yes. So he just, yes, I'm now it.
So if there are no tag backs, then how many people is it?
Oh, so the group is 4 of us. So it's a 4-person group.
You just have to tag the other 2 guys.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Are you going to remember to do that tomorrow? Or are you going to be a little too?
Oh, don't worry, Rocco. This I take very seriously.
My buddy texted me. He said, "How hammered is Zach right now?"
I'm not even hammered. I'm just more like I've had a long day. I wish I was more like I wish I drank more.
That's fair.
Like I've not like I was so stressed throughout today that like I was just babysitting beers. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I just wish I was more anxious than anything.
Well, that's only going to go up every game day. It's only going to get.
You guys don't. Last year, AFC
Championship game, you were stressed. That we were all stressed, but like you were.
I was
stressed.
distraught.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. By the way, Nick Moore will be joining in a matter of minutes.
Better be right, Kevin. Your reputation's on the line.
Yeah, I guess I can. 2 for 3. That would be not good. I need to keep my perfect streak alive. Let me tweet it out real quick.
I think after I get off the stream, I'm going to try to take Temple to the national championship and Road to Glory.
Man, I still got to work.
We're 8-1 right now. Just got ranked in the top 25.
Did that game? I never played it. Did that game fall off? I don't hear people talking about it.
No,
it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Also, by the way, the guy who burnt the terrible towel with Old Bay on it is living large right now. I know that makes you.
Yeah.
That grinds your gears a little, doesn't it, Rocco?
So, you know what, Kevin? It's okay. I'm just gonna take the high road here. Mm-hmm. However, I did feel like I was like taking part in a fantasy football punishment today when I was sitting in the corner of that bar. The only person. It was just like that. That would actually be a great fantasy.
Did you wear your jersey?
Absolutely, I did, and my hat. Walked in.
Did anybody talk to you?
No one said a word to me except my buddy who was a bartender. It's one of my good friends from college, and he's just like, "You good?" And every time the Ravens would score, he'd come up to me and say, "Damn," he's like, "The Steelers suck." I was like, "Thanks, man."
At least you knew it. At least like you were prepared for it.
I couldn't say anything. There were no moments to clap. There were no moments to cheer. It was just like, and like, it's.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole Russ experience, I think, is summed up by him on 4th down, throwing it into quadruple coverage to a 5'8" guy. Like, I don't know, man.
Yep. But yeah.
So, obviously, that means the Steelers should extend him for 10 more years.
Yeah. And for those hanging around, Nick Moore, long snapper for the Ravens, should be joining us in the next 5 minutes. Appreciate you sticking around. This is Kevin and Zach React. Hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel.
For content purposes, I have some pretzel goldfish here. By the way, best goldfish. Oh.
Uh-oh.
I'm still gonna do it.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. You ready? The Rocco and Zach, you were the two on here for this last time. Although the goldfish is a lot harder because the pretzel powder makes it slide further. And, yeah, see.
All right, hold up. While you're doing that, I'm going to show Ryan Ripken.
Hello, Ryan. Oh, man. I have so many things to say right now, Kevin.
All right, see you guys. Goodbye.
Can we not have a good time? Can we not have a good time? I'm having a good time. Here, I'll try to catch it. I caught it.
There's like so much shit I want to say.
What the hell are you doing, Kevin?
I caught the goldfish. That's what I'm doing.
No, okay. The first thing was not catching goldfish.
I was trying to blink the goldfish from my forehead down to my mouth. And I have been successful doing it on this show before.
No.
We're waiting for Nick. But now that you're here, we can talk more about the Oh, there he is.
Yeah, oddly, I'm feeling the same way. I don't know what he's doing either.
Well, I joined at the time, Kevin, where you're just staring up, mouth, tongue out, and
You have to strategically do it because you cannot go too hard or else it will fall faster. If you go too slow, it's not going to move anywhere.
It's a great segment name, Kevin. We can think of one for you with that.
We're coming full force with the food challenges for Orioles season.
I'm gonna actually cook on
including I'm gonna eat 2 corn dogs an inning for an Orioles game. I don't know where I'm gonna get the corn dogs, either from the grocery store or maybe the Orioles will cater me.
I think that we should do that. Should be part of the challenge, Kevin. Like the 9 innings, like 9 corn dogs, 9 beverages. You should do it.
Well, actually, I discovered pineapple juice Sprite Jim Beam vanilla. Tastes like vanilla ice cream. For those who have not tried it, it is a god combination. But how you doing, Ryan? How'd you like the game? Was it a good game for you?
Well, first off, Kevin, and this is your words, not mine. The corn dog challenge. You're eating each corn dog in one bite. It's aggressive.
Okay. No. All right, okay.
No, I'm good. I just got home, obviously. It's a great game. Rock, it was great. I might have to send you some more halftime memes and GIFs. You like those?
I did not like those at all. That was just you really know how to kick a guy when he's down.
Did you like the mini one?
Tell you?
Very hurtful. What? The mini me one was hilarious. Yeah, that was great.
Did Rocco tell you about his bar experience?
No, I blanked it out.
Dry January is still in effect, but
okay.
One of my college friends works at the bar down the street in Canton, and I walked in a Palomalu Steelers jersey, and I was the only Steelers fan. Surprise, surprise! In there, it felt like a fantasy football punishment because there was one bar seat available. They sat me in the corner. Ravens fans all around. Nobody talked to me or said a word or would even look at me. I heard a guy actually come back from the bathroom because, like, I guess his girlfriend or wife was sitting next to me and the seat was empty. And he goes, all I hear him say is, gotta be fucking kidding me. And I know he was talking about me. So it's like, I just like didn't turn my head. I didn't know what to do. So is what it is. I get it. I'm like the plague. So
yeah. Well, all right. We could have brought the man of the hour on while he was doing his little dance behind the screen, but we decided to spare him so that he knows when he's coming on. But here he is, wild card winner, Ravens long snapper Nick Moore. There he is.
Boys, what a day!
How you doing, Nick? Yeah, there it is. Victory beers.
Nick,
doing good, boys. I'm doing great, actually. A lot better than Rocco's doing right now.
Ruined my season.
You have anything you want to say to Nick, Rocco?
I told him already. I told him in the Discord. I talked my shit. all week. It was on, and you know what? Congratulations, buddy. Very happy for you. Here's Ryan's meme.
I love it.
God.
Man, I really do love
Just
kicking
beautiful.
Rocco.
It's terrible.
That's
It's
a
terrible.
great clip. We need to.
And that's actual size too. It's like
Yeah.
it's a good example of what it was. And that's actually kind of how it should be. Hey Rock, I mean you kind of set it up too, and you jinxed your boy from the get-go here. So you kind of put everything in motion for the Ravens today. We appreciate you. Hey Nick, proud of you, man. Proud of you.
Thanks, baby. Appreciate you.
I have one thing I got to talk to you about though.
Don't bring it up, dude.
Don't do him like this, Ryan. Don't do him like this.
Go ahead. I can face the music. Bring it on. I know what you're gonna say. I'm ready. I'm ready for
Nick, well. First off, when Stout pinned one within the 5 right there, like it was great. It started with the snap, obviously.
Yeah, it did.
And then when I forget who the returner was, and I'm like, oh, and everyone's yelling like, keep him in there, keep him in there. I'm like, oh, don't miss. And I'm like, God, terrible angle, Nick. I'm like, this is the moment right there for 46 to shine. But
I know.
He's crafty. He's shifty.
I blew it. Look, we had a punt. It's supposed to go to the left. It didn't go to the left. So I'm running down the field, right? And we called Liz hook, which is a left punt, and so I'm running. I'm looking at the returner. I got out clean. I'm running down, looking at the returner. I see him dart to the right. I initially was like screaming on the field, like the ball's going left. And so I look up, and I don't see the ball, and I'm like, oh fuck. And so I look over to my right where he was going, and he caught the ball, and I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. And so I start running to him, and he had like 7 yards of space, bro. Come on. I just keep on off. I don't have a chance. Like, yes, could I have done better? 1,000%. That was a terrible play on my part. I never broke down. I just like kept running and assumed he was going to like try to get yards and get upfield. He did not, in fact, do that. And I looked like a complete jackass on TV. And I've gotten that clip sent to me 10 times already by other long snappers in the league making fun of me and some of my buddies. And rightfully so. You know, I had a great opportunity to make a play, and I totally squandered it. But, you know, at the end of the day, somebody made a tackle, and it was a good play for them. And, you know, shout out to who – I don't even know who made the play, but I just looked like a complete idiot out there.
You won.
Yeah. You also weren't the only one to miss on that play, too.
I'm getting the T-shirts made right now, Nick. They're going to say – you miss a lot of tackles for a long snapper, and I'm going to send them to your place and make sure that you get them. So it's
I thought it was going to be a still frame of dropping that pass.
Oh my God!
Was it the first catch of the game?
Yeah, it was his first. I think it
was the first play of the game.
Yeah. Look, man, he's a great player, bro. But
he is a great player.
You come after the long snapper.
He played in the Big Ten.
That's bad juju coming after the long snapper, dude. Like, come on, what are you doing? Yeah. And what was his line tonight? What did he do? Had like 2 catches?
I don't even think he
had 1 catch for sure.
Yeah, 3 for 15. That was the stat line in the other game too.
He was 3 for 16. So, you know, it's tough day. But
yeah,
look, we got our defense is great, man. Our defense is stout, playing really well. We gave up a couple deep balls tonight, but overall, man, they have been playing lights out football for the last 5 games. I was actually talking to Namdi on the way to the car after the game, and he's like checking in on me, seeing how I'm feeling. I'm like, dude, I feel great. You guys are making my job super easy. Like we punted 4 times tonight, had 4 PAT field goal snaps. Like, dude, I couldn't ask for a better game for me. Would have loved to make the tackle, but other than that, like, you know, played really well, and it's just fun to watch, dude. Like, Derek, I saw a stat line at halftime. I don't know if it was you guys that sent it in the Discord or if it was one of my buddies' group texts that sent it. It was like a stat line. Derek had like 92 yards in the first half or first quarter. and it's so much fun. Like I'm kind of creating bad habits for myself because it's like, oh, it's 3rd and 3, like we're gonna get a first down, so I'm like not even worried about going on the field, and then every now and then we don't get the first down. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go. But man, we look good. Lamar Jackson is just absolutely insane. Like he is just insane.
He's all right.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Dude, after that touchdown he threw to Justice, I was like coming on the field, and Harbs was like, I passed right by Harbs, and he was like, his eyes got so big, he was just like, wow. It's like pretty much sums up that play right there.
Yeah, Justin said that was just all improv. Like he was blocking on that play, and it just went on for so long. But he's like, I'm just gonna leak out and see what happens. And there you go. It's a touchdown.
Nick, like, what's the reaction? Because as fans, you see it, and you're just like, holy shit, when Derrick Henry, because you know what he's capable of with the stiff arm, but when you see it in a game of this magnitude, I know how I reacted from the other side. I know how Ravens fans reacted, but like, what was the sideline reaction when like he just palms Minkah Fitzpatrick's face and just extends?
Anytime he's upright in the open field and there's like a DB coming at him, I'm literally just looking at his arm, like, when is he going to punch this guy square in the fucking face? And I'm sure, him playing with Mika in college, I'm sure that wasn't the first time Mika's gotten a stiff arm from Derrick Henry. It is honestly the most impressive thing. Like, everyone knows exactly what he's going to do. He's not going to jump. He's not going to run you over. He's going to put his hand on your head, and he's going to tell you to get out of here. It's literally going to be, get out of here, and just throw your ass wherever. And it's ridiculous because he's done it to us. Like, I watched him do it to us in 2020. We've been on the receiving end of that plenty of times.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that he's on our team and he's doing that kind of stuff. And what do you have, 180 something yards tonight? Like, and that is a defense that is top tier in the NFL with 3 guys that I think are going to be for sure Hall of Famers in Hayward, TJ, and Minkah. And to do that is just incredible. It's a testament to him, to the poor Earl Thomas right there. Earl Thomas. That's unfortunate look for you, brother. That's tough. Yeah.
Insane.
But it's honestly just it's unbelievable to see that. Like, the talent that this guy has. I feel like every single game he gets a game ball for breaking some other record, and it's just crazy. Like, most rushing yards in a playoff game. Like, just absolutely bonkers what he does.
Is it rubbing off on you guys? Isaiah had like almost it's impressive when he just stiff arm. I don't even remember who it was. Stiff arm in the dirt.
Too, yeah. I guess everyone's trying to get a little bit of that action, man. Everyone sees it's effective because now nowadays you see guys jump, try to do the jump over and stuff, and it's like sometimes, man, a good old fashioned stiff arm to the face is all you need to do. And Derrick is obviously the king of the stiff arm, and I guess other guys are picking up on that, and they're trying the same thing, and it's effective. Like, I don't think that Isaiah is a guy you look at like, oh, this guy's going to stiff arm me in the face. And so when you get it, you kind of get caught off guard. Whoever that guy was maybe got caught off guard by it, and it was very effective. And that was a huge play, and so I love watching it. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but Lamar likened him to Lightning McQueen, and how he goes. Is that a pretty accurate comparison, or who would you, if you had to give a character comparison for Derrick Henry, who would it be?
Oh my God, a character comparison for Derrick Henry.
I know. I asked the tough questions.
I know. There's so many good characters.
How about Thanos?
See,
but that's like a villain.
Okay,
yeah.
So
you know what? For Rocco, that makes sense right now.
Yeah. My initial reaction when you asked that, Kev, I wanted to go Donkey Kong. just because he's just an absolute beast. Like he's just such a beast. Like Super Smash Bros. Donkey, old school Donkey Kong
Dude,
game.
Super Smash Bros. By the way, and that character, because in Super Smash Bros. That was my character. Was Donkey Kong is my favorite character.
Dude, he's a beast.
When he gets his punch for that, that's actually kind of like with Derrick Henry. If he lands it, you're done.
Yeah,
You're
like
done.
It's unreal.
It's over.
Yeah. I mean,
It's over.
I see someone in the chat talking about Transformers. He could be like an Optimus Prime kind of guy.
Yeah.
Transformers
I
good
could see
too.
that.
Transformer makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
But my initial reaction wanted to go DK because DK is an absolute machine, and that was Derrick Henry.
Nick, real fast before I showed Rocco and Kevin this, but had to show you and Rip tonight in honor of the big win. We're wearing the night lights by Lamar
Ooh,
Jackson.
That's nice.
So yeah, my friend purchased it, and we actually superstition, obviously. We put it on before the first or their first touchdown drive. Touchdown.
Scored a touchdown.
So then we all passed it around and put on this cologne before every single offensive drive.
It must be smelling crazy.
No. We had to open a window because at one point I was like, "This is suffocating." I was like, "This is a lot of cologne in this room."
I don't know what it smells like, but I think I can smell you through the screen now.
It was a lot.
So Zach, is it like Sex Panther or like what are we?
Yeah, it's like a little. I would say,
and there's more.
You sprayed it again?
This elite in over 6 countries.
Zach did say he was feeling sexy with the cologne. So
yeah, it's masculine. It's masculine and sexy is how they advertise it.
Nick, I can't let you have a Miller Lite by yourself. I'm gonna go get some tequila.
I'm a Miller Lite guy. If Miller Lite sees this, please. I drink Miller Lite all the time.
We can work on actually work. Maybe that's sponsors Miller Lite, potentially you.
I love Miller Lite.
I'm doing Dry January like a softie. So
I know. I'll be back.
We know.
Bro. I mean, your team's done, so I guess it's fair.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Very well put. I appreciate that.
You guys can stare at Ollie.
Words of support, words of encouragement.
Yeah.
Dude,
man. Listen, the Steelers are a great football team. They really are. Special teams, bro. They came out on that first punt we had. They came out with no returner, and they came out with 9. They had 9 guys in the box. I was like, bro, we are about to be in for a fucking ride tonight. Literally, I was like, they are going to be. These boys are ready to go. They're playing ball. They're pulling out all this. There's no pulling out all the cards, ready to pull out. Do anything. And I was like, we better. I told Sanusi after that first punt, I was like, boy, you better buckle up because these boys are going to be coming all night. And
then they ran into Jordan on the other play.
Yeah, they did. They rushed that one. That was a good rush. They're just so special teams wise. Like I can't speak on offense and defense because I don't play it, but special teams wise, man, those guys are so good. I talked to Miles Kilbrew after the game. I was just like, dude, you're the best special teams player in this league, and I got tons of respect for you. We put a bullseye on you every week, every time we play you guys because you're a game changer, and we do our best to try to mitigate what you're able to do on the special teams side of the ball. So shout out their coach Danny. He's been there for a long time, man.
Yes.
He's one of the best in the biz, and he's always chewing his bubble gum. He was talking smack. I got caught in one of those awkward moments before the game. When like it happens a lot at the airport when they're like, "Oh, have a nice flight," and then you're like, "Oh, you too." And he was like, I went up to Danny right before I was about to head back to the locker room, and I was like, "Hey, Dan." He's like, "Hey man, have a good game tonight. Stay healthy." And I was like, "Yeah, you too." I walked away from it. I was like, I took like 2 steps. I turned back around. I was like, "Have a good game, coach. You're gonna be fine. Healthy wise, you're gonna be fine."
Dude, that's one of those like you say to someone and you're thinking about it in the shower like the next night. You're like, "Why the hell did I just say that to somebody?"
Yeah, that was at like I said that to him at like 7:15. So it's 2 a.m. almost, and
and he's still thinking about it.
Yeah. So,
it stays with you.
Yeah, it does. I honestly enjoy playing. I really like playing the Steelers because it's such a big challenge for us. And at least from my side of the ball, like they're so good at what they do, and they attack us in so many different ways. It's such a unique group that they always have new stuff drawn up every week. Like we played them 3 times, and I feel like every game we played them, they had a different way of trying to attack us. And from a chess match standpoint, it really forces you to focus on everything. You have to see the whole picture. You really gotta hone in on your craft and like pay attention to those details and like prep for that stuff. And we did a really good job. Chris Horton, our special teams coordinator, did a great job. He told us right before that first punt, he was like, boys, he was like, this is an overload. Like this is the area of the field where they do that overload. They had done it to us before in 2022. And he was like, y'all be ready for that. And sure enough, we come out, they got 9 men in the box. We only have 8 blockers. They go 6 on the right, and we were in a zone protection type thing. And they did exactly what he said they were going to do. And, it's just, it's so fun because you do that and you have a successful rep against them. Miles got through it a little bit, but we were able to get the punt off and have no leakage there. But it really just shows how good they are and how good of a coach that they have and how good of players that they have. And it also shows how good we are because we're able to get a look like that. That's uncommon. It doesn't happen very often. It's happened to me twice in my career. And I've had, well over 400 punts reps in my career. So it's always an enjoyment for me because it's such a challenge every time we play them, and really makes me a better player at the end of the day. And I got my hats off to those guys. They're unbelievable players, a hell of a team, and I'm just glad that we were able to play the football we've been playing for the last month, continue rolling that into the first round of the playoffs, and have ourselves a hell of a game.
Yeah, dude, it's like Nick. I know. Like the locker room is obviously a sacred place, so not gonna ask for specifics here. But like when you guys get together after a big win like this, obviously it's like it's the Steelers, big rivalry game, but it's also the first round, like the wild card round of the playoffs, and it's the first game in front of you. What is like the sense you get from your group now, just moving forward, like how locked in this team truly is? Because I know it's one thing to grind it out through the regular season, but when a new season begins, like the playoffs, it seems like it's a different animal. Like how locked in truly is this group just going forward? And I know you guys don't know who you're going to play yet, but what is that sense like you get right now from the group of fellas in there?
We played a great game tonight, and we beat a really good football team. At one point I was looking at the scoreboard at the third quarter, so we had 242 yards rushing, and they only had 20. And which is just absolutely bonkers to have a stat line like that in a playoff game in the NFL. And the one thing I noticed, like when we're in the locker room after the game, like everyone's celebrating, everyone's high fiving, everyone's like good shit, doing the thing. But like dudes are talking like I heard Kyle Van Noy talking like, we got to do this, this, and this. Like we got to be better. Lamar's like doing his thing. Like guys are hungry to continue to do this and continue to get better because I know we played a great game tonight, but there's things that are going to be on the tape that we can do better at. Like I know for me, like I had a punch snap they said was like, I haven't watched the tape yet, but like punch snap was like at the thigh board. I wanted to be a little bit higher. I know on one of the field goal snaps, it was a little bit low and inside, and got to do a better job with that. And guys are like, nobody is satisfied, and they're like immediately after this game, like a huge win. We haven't beat the Steelers a lot in the last 5 years. To beat them that way the last 2 times in the playoff, do it in the playoffs. Like no one's like even remotely like, all right, we've done anything. Like everyone's like, all right, we're ready for whoever we got to play next. We're focusing on how we can get better as a team. Every single rep, there's something that can get better. And to me, like the laser focus that we have, it's crazy. And it starts with Lamar, Derek, Roquan, Kyle. Those are the guys that are like, yeah, this was sweet. Like Kyle Van Noy, I love talking with Kyle because that guy's won Super Bowls with, Tom Brady. And like Tom Brady, for me, like as a kid growing up watching Tom, like he was like an idol of mine. Like I loved watching him. And like every time he got in the playoffs, he felt like he was going to win the game. And Kyle was there and he was in it. and he knows like what it takes to win multiple Super Bowls and like to get there, and like he knows how hard it is and how rare it is to do that. And like having a guy like that, like, yo, you got to do this. Like, we got to be better. I got to do this. I got to be better. Like, coming in after the game saying that kind of stuff is just a testament to like him as a leader, as a person, as a player. Like, it is. That's what we need. Like, we can never be satisfied. We got to continue to get better because we know we can play. You know, we know we can do things better and be more effective. And I know we had some obviously some really great drives and really great plays tonight, but there's always things you can get better at. And so for me, like the laser focus that these dudes have, it's honestly it's a privilege for me to be involved in that. And like it makes me have that same privilege or same focus because I know that I can do better. And it doesn't, obviously my job is one of the ones that like nobody, you know, no one's like barking up a tree if the snap is at the knee versus at the hip. But for me, that's how I impact the game. And it's small, but it's like I got to do a better job in that coverage rep. Like I got to be in a better position, and I got to play the returner better, and I got to get, you know, make the play so that he doesn't get the yards that he got. And there's always things we can do to get better, and that's what we need out of our leadership, and that's what I've seen and I saw today. Like, you know, we're winning 28-7, and dudes are like, Kyle's over there fucking pissed. It's like, dude, what? He's like, we give a fucking touchdown. Like, we got to do blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this is unreal. Like, this is what it takes to be the best. And I love watching it. And I think it's such an honor and a privilege to be able to see that every week. So I'm excited for what we got coming, man. I don't know who we're going to play yet. We'll find out tomorrow. But these guys are hungry. These guys are focused. These guys are determined. These guys are ready to rock and roll. And we've been doing it. Like I told you guys the other day, like we've been in playoff mode for a month. This is nothing new to us. Like, you know, we're doing the same shit we've been doing for the last month. We're locked in. Every game was a must win. Every game from here on out's a must win. So we're doing everything we can to get better every single day. And I'm excited for what we got coming up.
Oh yeah. I was thinking about this, Nick, of also, well, hey, whoever you play, you know, feel confident with, right? Obviously, like selfishly, like, hey, go Denver. So playoff game in Baltimore, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But see what happens. But I was watching in whatever it was, a podcast, something with Cooper Kupp, and this is talking about like his journey to get to where he was. But I think it's really interesting of how you guys are describing it. Cooper said every level that he would get to when he was in high school, when he got to college, when he got to the NFL, and then everything after that point, it was each level we got to, it was, yeah, it's cool, but then earning the opportunity, you know, and deserving to be there. And the only way you can do that is I'm going to put everything I can and put my best foot forward and continue to work and continue to grind. And then if I do that, I'm going to have earned the right for the opportunity. Like the thing with the Ravens with you guys right now is what I'm hearing, and this is nothing different, is you guys put in the work constantly and to earn the opportunity. And then if you guys handle business, you deserve to move on. And right now it's like, damn, I don't know if this is maybe more gratifying in this case. And for you, you're involved this year compared to last year. Like sitting out is tough, brutal. But like what you're describing is exactly along those lines. It's, yeah, you guys just took the Steelers behind the woodshed there. Sorry, Rock. But like you took care of business. You'll celebrate and enjoy a Miller Lite. And then you got to prove why you deserve the right to go to the AFC Championship game. Like it's earning the opportunity each and every week. And it seems like the guys are understanding it's one step. But just because you guys I think you guys can beat anybody. I think last year is a great indication of you still got to go out there and play the game.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know. I mean, Zach, Kev, Rock, we were talking about it. The way you describe it just sounds different.
It feels like this team has a mission. Like it feels like every step is just that next stepping stone. Like you said, there's no, hey, we're up 28-7 in the wild card round. Let's start taking our foot off the gas. Let's start doing this. It's, hey, until there's 0-0, like we're pissed off that we even gave up points. Like it's not just about winning, it's about proving a point. So I feel like that's the big, and Rocco, and Kevin talked about it earlier. We feel like the biggest difference between this year and last year was the adversity this team's faced. And like, there's nothing this team hasn't seen, whether it's being down 10 points to start a game, whether it's a big deficit, whether it's being up and then the other team starts to come back and you have to find a way to stop the bleeding. Like, this team has seen it all. And I think it's led to moments like this where, it's the playoffs, you're up 28-7, but it's not good enough. You want to continue to be the best.
Well, and that's the other thing too, where like, Nick, you talk about like some of the things that the team was saying that they could do better, that you're saying that you could improve on. And it's those mistakes that like you want to get better, because maybe the next week, if you don't improve on that, is what costs you the game next time. And so those things are, you're able to improve on them to say, hey, let's be as perfect as we can in all aspects. So we don't have to worry about that, and that we're good at everything we need to do to get to the next level and continue to go to where we want to go.
Yeah, I think one of the best things I learned when I first got here, and as I've been here a long time now, working with Justin and Sam Cook and Morgan Cox and some of these other veteran guys I played with, Levine and all these guys, it's the NFL is crazy, man. Like, every single team is assembled a combination of the best players in the world at this sport, and there, until the clock is triple zeros, anything can happen. All it takes is one play here, one play there, and if they had made a couple plays there, then it's 28-21. And then it's like it's a one-score game. They're in the game now. Their mindset's different. And so and Tuck talks all the time, like he says that, we've had some games in the past. I can't point to one this year specifically, but we've had games in the past where it's like, we're up 3 touchdowns or 4 touchdowns with 3 minutes to go in the game, and he's like, hey, you got to be ready, we got to go hit, knock down the winner here. And it's like, dude, we're winning by 3 touchdowns, what are you talking about? And it's like that kind of mindset you have to have in this league, because every single team can score on one play and then make a play on defense, and next thing you know, they scored 2 touchdowns in a matter of seconds, and you're looking at a 1-score game with a minute and a half to go. And you can never ever let your foot off the gas in this league, because at any given moment you could lose it all. And I think this team, I just feel like we know that and we understand that, having been on the receiving end of some of those bad situations. Like, we know you can never ever ever let up, and I've literally not seen it. Like, what we've done the last five games, it's been incredible. Like, there's been plenty of times where it's like, all right, we're winning, we got 3-score lead, we're good. It's like, no, we're not good. Let's keep running the ball, let's keep pounding the rock, let's keep playing stout on defense, let's keep dominating on special teams. Like, that's what the mindset that we have, and that starts, honestly, it starts at the top. Like, Harbs is that way. Like, Harbs is honestly probably the hardest working dude I've ever met in my life. Like, physically met and like got to know. That joker works out the same time every day, never changes his routine. Like, it's honestly baffling in my mind, like the way he goes about his day and how he goes about his work, and how serious he takes it. And it's honestly admirable to see that. And that trickles down to 8 doing that, and then 22 doing that, and 0 doing that, and 44 doing that, and 14 and 53 and 9, and all these guys. It trickles down to everybody. And so we're all doing that same thing. And then when you get 53 guys on the same page doing the same thing, it's a pretty remarkable machine that we have. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just honored and happy to be here, a part of it, and privileged to be in this situation and to be able to help the team in the way that I can. And it's it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and I think we learned from last year. I think a lot of guys. I wasn't around as much last year, obviously with the injury, but like talking to guys this year about what happened last year, like I feel like guys were almost. I hate to say caught off guard because that doesn't sound right. Because like we expect to win and make it to the Super Bowl. That's our goal every year, but it's almost like, oh my God, we're here. Like AFC Championship in Baltimore, like whoa. And this year it's like, yeah, we're fucking here. Like we're ready. Like we deserve to be here. This is where we belong. Let's continue to do the shit that we've done for 18 games now, 19 weeks. Like this is this is what we do. And it's just for me, it feels different. Like in 21 and 22, it was kind of like in 22 we made the playoffs. Like, oh, we made the playoffs. Like,
yeah.
And in 24, it's like, all right, boom, check the box. Won the division, check. Won the first game of the playoffs, check. What's next? What can we do? How can we get better? How can we continue to grow as players, as teammates, as a team, as a whole? And that's the only word I can come up with. Is it's truly remarkable because like you don't get that a lot in everyday life. And as I've worked in corporate America and I've done other shit, like it's crazy when you get a group of guys that all have the same idea and everyone's working towards the same thing. You're all doing it together. It's such a special thing to be a part of. So I'm just excited, man. It's like,
oh yeah,
this next game, it's going to be fantastic. No matter what, like it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be an honor and a privilege to take the field with these guys and lead them out of the tunnel like I do every week. And
Yeah,
every week. Every week.
well, you were out.
Fails.
You were out there today.
I learned from Sam Cook and Anthony Levine, two of the best guys I ever played with, and it's like I was always wondering because like most specialists they go out early, they don't run out of the tunnel with the team, and I had Levine one time in 2021. I kind of was like, Sam has his routine. He played for 16 years. Like he was built into this routine. He did what he did. But like I'm kind of like sitting there one time in the tunnel, and I'm like, Veen, why are we always in this spot? And he looked at me in the face, stone cold as Levine has ever been. And Veen was a hard ass when I played with him, and it took me a long time to get his respect. But when I earned it, I felt like I had done something good. Like I felt like I finally had proven myself worthy to be in this position. And kudos to him. But like he looked at me dead in the eyes and he goes, "Because you fucking earned the right to be here." And I was like, "You're right, I did. So I'm going to do it." And I take immense pride in being the first guy out of the tunnel every week. And I think it's, I like it because for me, like it's my one time of the game where I'm really like one of the guys. Like normally I'm off the side, I'm snapping, I'm doing my thing over here. They're over there, doing their shit. And then I go on the field, talk a couple guys, and I get off and I go back in my little corner. And like running out of the tunnel with those guys and like being able to dap those dudes up right before we go out, take the field, go to battle together. Like that's something I take a lot of pride in. And, I love doing it. So, I'm just honored that I get to be in that position. And guys, let me do it. Like Eight's run out a couple times with me at the front. And, I remember in Houston, he kind of looked at me and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Hey, it's nice to see you. I've never seen you run out." And he's like, "Man, I feel like I want to be out in the front today." And I was like, "You can run right next to me, brother. We'll be fine." He's like, "You're damn right we can." And it's such a privilege for me because a lot of times my job is overlooked, kind of just like in the shadows. I don't get the praise in the media and all that shit. There's no really stats for my job. It's just like do your job and help the team however you can. But I feel like the guys really respect me and appreciate what I can do. And whenever they try to long snap at practice, they gain more appreciation for me. And so it's something I really enjoy doing. And it's I keep saying it over and over again. I feel like I'm a broken record at this point, but it's such a privilege. So, I love it, and I love this team, and I think I'm so excited. Like every week, it's like I cannot wait to take the field and play and see what 8 does, and 22 and 44, and all in 99 and 9 and 58, and all these guys. Like it's so fun. Like it's the first time in professional sports where I've actually really like in not I don't want to say enjoy because I love playing football and I love doing what I do, but this year just feels so different, and so I love it.
Well, you're bringing up numbers 80, 822 number real quick, Nick. That I want to bring up is a little spillage there.
Yeah,
80. It's all good. We saw it. 89. So Philly, they have the brotherly shove. Other teams, they have this tush push. Do you guys call it anything when they're getting behind Mark Andrews and pushing them on 4th and 1? Like, is there a name like fans can call that? Because, Philly has its staple. Other teams have theirs. Like, what are the Ravens calling it?
If they have a name, I've never heard it. I don't know, but it's so fun watching that. It's so much fun.
Yeah, man.
Execution was great today on it.
Yeah,
It was
unstoppable.
It was.
It
That was
really
two
was.
very nice ones.
Yeah, I really
Tush in the push,
Yeah,
or push
it was
in the
crazy.
tush. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the execution was flawless. And I said this to Jordan because I can't remember, excuse me. I can't remember if it was 95 or who was lined up in front of Tyler on one of them. I think it was the first one. And like they showed the replay on the big screen and I'm watching it. And this guy's like, he's like 6 inches below Tyler, which in football, that's basically like a mile. Like you have so much leverage at 6 inches. And this guy's huge. He's bigger than Tyler. Like Tyler's 305, but he's not Daniel Falele. Okay. So he's, and they run this play and you see this guy get up underneath Tyler and Tyler is able to just throw this guy, like move him back. And I look over at Jordan after I watched the replay and I was like, Tyler's a fucking animal. Like literally he's an animal. That guy had leverage and he had size on him. That's a win almost 9. That's almost a win 100% of the time. And for Tyler to be able to move that guy is absolutely insane. And it's it's crazy because that's something that like, probably nobody's paying attention to, but like they showed that the camera angle was like perfect angle to see Tyler. And it was absolutely electric to see that. So it's crazy. And that play, we run it a couple times. Obviously tonight we ran it. We ran it before in the past. I'm sure they have some name like Mandrews or something. I don't know. But it's a great play. It works. So I love it.
Got to call it something like drop some like Charm City, like the Charm City plunge or something like that, or the Charm City. You can't call it the shove, but I'm looking at synonyms or something like synonyms for shove. And here's some we got. So you got thrust. Thrust is a good one. Rip likes to thrust.
Jesus.
So
Why were
that was okay.
You're going to make Nick walk into the locker room and say, hey, guys, let's call this the thrust.
I'm not saying names to bring to the table,
you know
but
what?
I'm just saying, like, let's you got to bring a name to it.
You know what we call that play?
What?
First down, baby.
Oh, let's go.
That's great, but that's really fucking corny as well.
Oh,
but
no.
like,
Don't,
obviously,
don't
but I was
that.
talking smack to Rocco because
honestly, Nick, this is essentially how it went today.
Dude, I got beat to shit today in the chat, Nick, because I came in with my Palomalu jersey. And
wrong one.
All right, did it again.
I got another one. My bad.
Dude,
Sorry,
it
wrong
was brutal in there.
Okay, all right. Well, while Ryan's bringing that up, Nick, who was? Okay, never mind. Okay,
there it is. Oh, there he is.
Into the harbor with them.
That's essentially it right there.
Get out of here.
I love Ryan just watching him.
Kicked him with his foot, and he kicked him.
There's Ryan.
The Baxter.
I love
Oh my God! All right,
Some good distance.
Also, real fast before we I got to bring up, we talked about being dedicated and people locked in. I got to shout out British Raven. Join the show, the pregame show earlier today. It is now 7:05 in the morning. Has not slept. Absolutely locked in across the pond. So British Raven, we appreciate you.
We love that, dude. British Raven, that's electric.
We
absolutely 7:15 in the morning. British Raven is locked in.
Hopefully next week we get a better game time for you, buddy.
Yeah, maybe the 1 o'clock game for him.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But all right, Nick, who you mentioned that the guys have a greater appreciation because they try to long snap. Who is the best non-Raven Nick Moore or non-Nick Moore Raven long snapper?
Okay, so technically Pat McCary is our backup long snapper, though he hasn't got a single rep all season.
That's good.
Actually, no, we had one day in practice earlier in the season. We did Tyler Linderbaum. I don't know if you know this. He's our backup holder because Charlie Kolar was, but he obviously broke his hand. So he's out on the holding gig for now. But
Wait. Tyler Linderbaum is the backup holder.
Yeah, we've actually, him and I have been, we kind of started as like, we were just fucking around on Saturday during our walkthrough, just like giving us something to do. So he was like, dude, just let me catch some snaps. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And like, he was actually pretty good at it. So we were like kind of working on it every single week. I mean, Charlie got hurt, and then it was like, this is not a joke anymore. Like, you're actually the guy. And he gets holds on Thursdays during practice. He practices his holds, so he's pretty legit. He honestly takes it seriously. Like, it started out as a joke, but like every week he like really, he's like, Tuck, I need you to watch it. I need you to look at it, see what I'm doing, tell me how to get better. Like, he takes it seriously. But as far as long snapping goes,
hold up, Nick. First off, like if we ever get a snap of Tyler Linderbaum holding, it would be the greatest thing to ever happen.
It would be. I would actually love it.
Dude back there. That might be the biggest in history.
He was. It would be epic. So I've only ever snapped to one non-holder, and that was Tucker in the preseason a couple years ago in Arizona. But he's basically a holder. Like, he practices it. Like, we do these games on Saturdays, and he gets holds in every week. He's been doing it for 13 years, so he's pretty good at it. He's also a kicker, so he knows exactly what he likes, and so it's pretty easy for him to do it. But as far as the long snapping goes, we've had Pat's our backup, hasn't got a lot of snaps this year, so I don't know. We have a guy on I think he's on practice squad, tight end Zaire Z. I call him Z. I'm not. That sounds terrible. Z.
Z is the other guy that would be in this equation.
He's pretty good. Yeah, he was actually snapping the other day at practice. He did a pretty good job. But we've had dudes like on Saturdays, like I'll have like Zay Flowers will come over and try to get a snap. Isaiah, they do like the one hand, like, oh, this is so easy. They try to throw it one hand. It's like they can't throw a field goal snap. Everybody's tried it. We used to have Nick Boyle. He was actually a legit long snapper. He was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But right now, Z's pretty good. I'd say he's the best one I've seen so far. He actually wants to do it and like use it, because like a lot of backup guys you see in the league, like we've seen Cole Kmet, he played earlier in the season. A lot of guys that are backup, the tight ends typically are the backup long snappers. So Z takes it seriously. It's another way for him to have another tool to get on the roster. And so he's really working at it. He was actually asking me the other day if I could help him out in the offseason. He's going to stay around Baltimore, so I'm going to try to help him out. But I'd say he's probably the best one. Difficult spot for him just because he hasn't been active yet. So, it's tough because the backups, backup holder, backup long snapper, they have to be guys that are like for sure going to be active every week, just in case something comes up. So you're limited to really, there's only a handful of options that you can actually have out there. And with the punt stuff, it becomes difficult because you're supposed to block and like help protect. So it becomes hard. So yeah, Pat McCary is our backup guy right now, but I'd say Z is our best I've seen backup long snapper.
Man. So Zay and Isaiah just sail it over. They do crazy.
They come over. Zay, the problem is those guys can throw so good. Like, they're actually like really good throwers of the ball.
Yeah.
And I've always said, if you give me somebody who can throw the ball really well, I can teach him how to long snap in like an hour. But like, they're just kind of doing it for shits and giggles on the side. and because they watch me snap to Tyler, and they're like, "Oh, let me get one." And like I remember, funny side story. Ronnie Stanley tried to get a hold one day. This was earlier in the season. Tyler was getting holds, and he's catching, putting it down, whatever. And so I told Ronnie, same thing I told Tyler. Put your hand like they're like this, right? So this is the spot. This hand's on the ground.
Yeah.
This hand's like where the ball is. So I say, put your right hand wherever you want me to throw the ball, and I'll throw the ball to your hand. That's how I gauge it. Obviously, with Jordan, it's a little bit different, but for those guys, they don't do it for a living. So I'm like, wherever you put your hand, I'm gonna throw the ball. So Ronnie, we were on a Saturday walkthrough, and he was like holding his hand was like right here, and so he said, "Set," and I threw it to him, and he didn't realize it was like as fast as it was because it comes back about 30 miles an hour. Like it's coming in hot, and 28-ish miles an hour. And so
okay, calm down. 28. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
26.
my hand
Yeah,
speed on average is like 29.6, so it's basically 30 miles an hour.
Whoa.
All right, so
we don't have to exaggerate, but yeah, go ahead.
anyways, he has his hand right here, right in front of his face. He said, "Set." I throw the ball right through his hand, drills him like right in the side of the face. And I was like, "Ron, I literally told you I'm going to throw the ball to your hand. Don't put your hand in front of your face if you don't want me to throw the ball there." And that was the last time Ronnie got a snap from Nick Moore. But yeah, everybody's like thinks it's easy, and then they try it, and it's like it's a lot harder than it looks. I make it look like relatively easy because this is my job and I am a professional.
You are humble brag too. You're very good at what you do.
This is my job, dude. It's like your job.
I know, but the way you said it before, Nick,
and talk shit
time
about
out.
the Georgia Bulldogs.
Nick,
This is my job. That's
Nick,
what I do.
Nick, time
Less
out. I
means
just
more.
said
Are we
you're
gonna
great
get
at what you
Are we
do.
getting to the SEC conversation now? Is that where
Yeah,
we're
no. We're not going to get into that. No, we're not going to get into that.
I'm not talking about that.
Just
College
means
football's dead to
more
me.
with two
No.
O's.
No,
It
we're
just
not.
means
We're not going to.
more.
That could be it. But all I was saying was, Nick, is that you are great at what you're doing. But before you were saying like it's my job, which I agree, you're great at it. You go, yeah, I'm that good at it. I'm like, well,
I mean,
all right. Yeah.
I sure hope I'm good at it.
Yeah, I hiked the ball at 45 miles an hour.
I didn't say 45.
Blind.
I didn't say
So,
45. I basically do it blindfolded. I don't look on punt snaps. I look at his feet, but when I throw it, I'm not looking at where the ball's going. So I'm just praying that it's a good spot. Literally. I remember
you're a good kid.
the first punt we had tonight. They had that 6-man side on my right, and so I'm like, dude, I gotta literally shit and get on this one. And so because I gotta get like 3 guys over and try to get in line with everybody else. And I'm talking the moment my brain was like, all right, we're gonna snap the ball. I remember my hands moving, and the next thing I saw was like a guy. I'm just like trying to block a dude, and I'm like, I just pray to God that it felt like decently well coming off my fingertips, but like I just hope to God it's back there, and that's kind of how it goes. That's kind of my
Well, I sent in the group right after your first the first point after. Shit was crispy. I mean, that was I was watching in a room, and of course I'm the only person paying attention to the snap. And I was like, stop, didn't even move. I was like, it was crispy.
Yeah.
So of course I was
really good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it was a rope. You were in your bag on that one, Nick.
No, but no. We're gonna keep the expectations. Nick sucked.
Yeah.
Got to be better. Like that's.
You
guys remember that hold versus the Cowboys?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
I know one person who does.
Remember when Nick got teabagged in preseason by the Falcons guy?
Yeah, Nick.
Hey,
Kid's fighting for his life. Nick's just trying to have another day in the office.
He just Halo teabagged his ass.
Stripping him up.
You know what makes me feel better about that? Is that dude has done that to almost every long snapper that they've played this year. So
do you talk about it with the other? Do you talk about it with the other long snappers?
Is there a group chat?
Atlanta was, I would say, just watching the tape. Obviously, we didn't play them in the regular season, but they were the best punt rush team I saw on tape because those dudes are big and fast and physical as hell. In '96, I'm assuming it's the same guy because he must have switched his number or something. But that dude has been absolutely abusing long snappers. Like, I'm not joking you. I turn on the tape and I'm just so glad we don't play the Atlanta Falcons this year. That's why I kept saying
We know where the advantage lies on that one. Advantage Falcons.
I'm going to try to make a call and get him in Pittsburgh next season.
That guy, dude, they got some dudes in Pittsburgh now. They're different style. Like Pittsburgh they're a little bit smaller, but they're so fast and they're so like Miles Killebrew is just a technician out there. It's honestly crazy to watch him because he's so good at what he does and he's blocked so many punts in his career.
I wanted him so bad, just as a safety. Obviously,
when
I was thinking drafting him in the late first, I wasn't thinking special teams, but like Miles Killebrew in Boise, he was nasty.
Yeah.
Boise, you say?
Oh yeah, Boise. They did well in the playoff, right?
They did great.
I mean, they did the same as Georgia.
No, Georgia made it one round further.
Yeah, rip. Ticket facts.
Actually, no, they played in the same.
No,
round.
they didn't.
Sorry.
Oh, they didn't even.
Mistaken. I've had 4
Yeah,
beers.
okay. So on that note, Nick, I gotta go to bed. My pup is exhausted. Taking him to bed.
We'll probably cut it here.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, my
we've been. Nick. Any final thoughts before we head out? Just on the game, what are we feeling? Final thoughts.
I thought it was a great game, man. Guys were physical. You know, Roquan sets the tone every week, and you know it's kind of when a team elects to receive the ball. I remember this happened in Dallas, and literally, it's almost like guys feel kind of slighted, like disrespected a little bit. Like they're trying to set the tone, so they want the ball, and like they take that shit personal. And like Roquan took that shit personal, and like obviously we had a great first drive. And I kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, but you know, I'm honestly so proud to just be a part of this organization and like be with these guys every week. Like, you know, I work with special teams guys and like Sanusi Kane and Chris Board and Christian Welch and Malik Harrison. Like these guys, they just play great ball. Like they love what they do. They're intentional about what they do. You know, they take great pride in playing special teams for the Ravens and, you know, interacting with some of the D linemen just on the field. And like we sit next to them on the bench. It was just such an honor to be out there. And like we played just such physical, great football, like execution and, you know, fast. And it was such a privilege to watch. So, I thought tonight we played really well, and you know we're gonna watch the tape. We're gonna get better. We're gonna, you know, critique the things that we need to critique, and we're gonna build on the things that we've done well. And we got a big challenge next week, whether we play Buffalo or Houston. Both those teams are great teams. Both, you know, obviously from a special team standpoint, we played them both, but they're both big and physical. And then from offense defense side, you know, both those teams are unbelievable with great quarterbacks and great skill players around them. So. We got a big test coming up, and it's the biggest game of the year because it's the next game, and we're ready to rock and roll. And I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to figure out tomorrow who we play and get to work on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, and I think that's what's special about this group is what you said is, you know, we ask about today's game, and it's all about, hey, it's a great win, but it's okay. We gotta get better. How do we get better? How do we go on? Because like you said, next game's the most important game because it's the next one. You know, there's 3. The goal is that there are 3 games left to go win, you know.
And
so
that was the message. Everyone that got a game ball tonight, they got a chance to speak in front of the team. That was the message. We got 3 games left. We got to win the next one, but we got to continue to grow and get better as a football team. Because we still believe we haven't played our best ball yet. You know, we played some really good football, but we still think that there's things out there that we can do better and get better at and be, you know, execute better. And be more physical in certain spots and be smarter with our decision making. And, you know, that's the thing. So we got 3 games. You know, our goal is to get 3 more games, but we got to win the next one to get there. So we're focusing on that one right now.
Thanks for ruining
lock it in. Lock it in, slug a Miller Lite or brush your teeth with the Miller Lite. And then,
you're damn right.
Yeah. Lock it in.
Yeah, you're a good
Back to
kid,
work.
Nick. I don't care what
Good
Jimmy
kid.
Charles said about you. You're a good kid.
Yeah, dude.
Good
Jimmy, I know we're getting out of here, but Jimmy was like, "Hey, man, where you at on the podcast?" I was like, "Jimmy, I got a game in like 6 hours." I'm like, "On the podcast."
Hey, Nick, I told Jimmy, I said, dude, we'll set up a time.
We will.
We'll get us all going. I said, dude, we'll go to even a concert as well. We took a shot
Bro,
for you. So
His
Yeah.
concerts are elite, bro. You saw me snapping those balls off the stage. That
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Boys.
He pulled up a
I know,
picture.
well,
Yeah.
time out. A little bit of a high form. You didn't get the ass down
Yeah.
enough for a different time.
I
Good night,
was
Nick.
aiming.
Good
All
night,
right.
Nick.
Hey, good night. We're just gonna do it.
Bro.
Good night, everyone. Good
All
night,
right.
Nick.
Good night,
Appreciate
boys.
everyone
This is
joining
it,
us.
Kevin and Zach
This is
react.
it.
Yeah.
We're calling it like
Yeah.
this. Appreciate everyone tuning in.
right.
Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see.